Did you know that there is a new trend in barbecue for 2025? I'm talking about cold smoking meats before you actually cook them.
Big thanks to Kamado Joe for sponsoring this episode.
It's a trend that started up at the end of last year when Bar A BBQ shared its method for cold smoking meat before they actually started cooking them. Now, of course, this method all starts with a brisket and then it follows up into sausages, ribs, and everything else that belongs to barbecue. Now, there's a little note to be made. This method is not actually new. There are multiple restaurants doing this. And the question is it a good trend? Can we use that trend at home? And will it make our barbecue taste better? To find that out, I picked up a couple of ribs. One I'm going to cold smoke before I'm going to cook it, and the other one I'm going to use as my reference rack ribs. The first thing that I'm going to do is remove the membrane from the back of the ribs. These are baby back ribs, and if I'm going to do this right, then they're going to be juicy and tender. I'm going to run my dinner knife underneath the membrane, and with a finger I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to season it with some delicious PITMASTERX deli seasoning. And deli stands for delicacy, and it's actually perfect for ribs. I'm going to season it, both sides of course. Look at the brightness of the color. It makes the ribs stand out. Good looking ribs. So both the rack of ribs are now ready to go on the barbecue. So let me show you that there's actually a hack of cold smoking in the Kamado Joe Big Joe. Now, it's a bit cold outside and that helps when you're cold smoking. And luckily with ribs you don't have to worry about it too much. Just make sure you get them straight out of the fridge when you're processing them, so they're nice and cool. You see this ashtray, that is actually perfect for cold smoking. All I need to do is put in some wood dust or really fine wood chips. And now I need to help it get started, so I got a little ember from the fire. That is red glowing hot, and that goes into the wood chips. There we go, smother it a little bit. And you can see that it instantly starts smoking. That is cold smoke. I don't need a fire, I just need that twirl of smoke. So now I'm going to slide the drawer back into the barbecue, leave all the vents all the way open. And so I'm going to give it about an hour to get some really good cold smoke on it. Put the rack of ribs in and let it cold smoke. So it ended up to be 4 hours before I even saw a color difference. Let's take a look. So I'm not really impressed with the results of the cold smoking. Not that I didn't have enough smoke, but cold smoking just takes a very long time. Take the ribs off and we compare them side by side. I can see a little bit of color change. I can see that the ribs that I didn't cold smoke have a more vibrant color. Whereas the ribs that I did cold smoke, they're a little bit less vibrant, a little darker in color. Not the beautiful smoke color, but more of like a brownish color. Let's get the Kamado Joe now ready for some serious smoking. I'm gonna put in some charcoal, light it up, and once they're lit, I'm gonna put in some smoke wood, a first layer of heat deflectors, a second layer of heat deflectors, then the grill grates, and then the ribs. The top vent is going to be 2 fingers open and the bottom vent is going to be almost all the way closed. I'm going to let the Kamado Joe come up to a temperature of 140 degrees Celsius, which is around 285 degrees Fahrenheit. And while I wait for the ribs to be smoked, I'm going to make a barbecue sauce to go with them. And this is a super easy recipe because I'm going to take a cup of ketchup, 3 tablespoons of vinegar, a tablespoon of pineapple juice, a shot of your favorite bourbon, a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, 5 tablespoons of sugar, a tablespoon of classic barbecue seasoning, and a teaspoon of chili flakes. Mix that up. And that is how you make world's easiest pineapple bourbon glaze. Always do a quick taste test. Oh, sweet and sticky. It's been about 3.5 hours and the ribs starting to look pretty good. Got a little bit of pull of the bone. They're building up a beautiful color. Now let's check if we can discover any difference between the cold smoked and the regular rack of ribs. I really have to get in there, but there is a difference. I can see that the cold smoked ribs are now getting a more profound, darker color. So that's actually something that is positive in the sense of barbecue, because that darker color, that is something that is a sign of flavor. Are we actually getting flavor? Well, we'll see. It depends. Yeah, I got a mahogany color, but the darkness prevails. Sounds ominous, but So I'm just going to do what I always do, get my butter out for flavor. There we go. Just going to lay that up on the aluminum foil. Put on a little bit barbecue sauce, fold it up and seal it off. I'm going to do the same with the cold smoked rack of ribs. There we go. Bone side up. Back on the barbecue, where they're going to sit for probably another hour and a half until they reach a core temperature of around 92, 93 degrees Celsius, maybe a little over. And that should be the moment when they also start to become tender. But we'll check back in about an hour or so to see how far along they are. I already did some probing and it felt pretty good. Well, let's see where we're at. Oh, these are the regular rack of ribs. Don't waste that. One side looks promising. We'll go careful now. Let's put the butter and sauce on top of it. I'm gonna let these ribs rest on the board, and in the meantime I'm gonna brush on a little bit of barbecue sauce to make them even prettier. Now, even though that the cold smoked rack of ribs looks a little bit darker on the eye, now with cold smoking it always takes a long time to cold smoke if you compare it to with hot smoking. But the thing that I'm most curious about, can I notice a difference? Those are some good looking ribs, that's for sure. Now let's slice into this and take a look at these ribs. Oh, we still have a little bit of pull. We still have a little bit of sturdiness, that's good. Slice through it easy with a slight resistance. Well, that looks pretty tasty to me. Whoa. Juicy ribs, nice smoke ring. And these are the regular rack of ribs. Look pretty good to me. Clean off the bone, absolutely great cook. These ribs are as good as they get. Because now let's slice into the rack of ribs, but because now we're going to try the cold smoked ribs. Are they better? Are they tastier? They look juicy. They look like they have a good smoke ring. On the inside, I can't discover much difference. During the cook, I wasn't too sure of, did I put on enough smoke? I can't see the colors changing, but honestly, I think I might have put on a little bit too much smoke because the flavor difference is insane. You might not be able to see it during the cook, but I think 2 hours of cold smoking is going to add so much good smoke flavor to your ribs. For my preference, there's a little bit too much smoke flavor on these, but I could have easily smoked them for a shorter period of time. Personally, I think it's kind of cool as a technique. Would I use it again? Only on specific occasions. I think maybe even for competitions, this has a purpose because you really want that smoke flavor. You want that smoky bite that people think, oh, that is extra smoke flavor. Tasty, tasty ribs. One thing's for sure, if ribs are tasty, oh.